and Miss Tanita giggles. What do you want? I need to borrow you for your 3-hole punch. Miss Hanson shows the drawing in the trash and gives her a 3-hole puncher to her neighbor. Was Zach Tobin acting weird in science today? She asks. Miss Tanita shakes her head. No more than usual. Why? It's probably nothing, Miss Hanson says. Miss Tanita smiles again and leaves. At the end of the day, Miss Hanson tells Zach that she cleaned out his desk for him and gives him a comeback and tells him not to bring it to school again. He nods, saying nothing, and heads for the door. He nearly looks at Nora and has the drawing that she threw away. Miss Hanson had a bad dream Monday night. It scares her enough that she damns Zach Chubbin to hell for it. She remembers a blanket of darkness enveloping her. The bitter stench of urine, mold, and dust was so crisp and clear that she swears she was actually in the horrid place and not dreaming at all. She remembers her eyes adjusting just enough to see wrinkled cavern walls. She remembers the cold air wrapping its depraved arms around her, fondling her skin as a wave of greasy fur and needly paws ran around her hands and feet. Her eyes fully adjusted to shadows at one point near the end, and that's when she heard the sounds. Clumps of earth trickling onto the ground, and the muffled grafting of nails against dirt and stone. A wall ahead of her was crumbling at the center. She moved to get a closer look at fist-sized whole form. She peered into the blackness beyond. The voice came about then, sweet and grateful like an old woman welcoming her grandchildren. And something yellow and evil peered back at her through a hole and brought her to sleep to a screeching halt at 3 a.m. Miss Hanson's ears are ringing, but she doesn't remember screaming. All day Tuesday, Miss Hanson is in an awful mood. She barely had 5 hours of sleep because of the dream, and she developed a headache that refused to go away. She's not civil with anyone, child or adult. She starts by giving Mr. Snyder a nasty glare in the teacher's lounge and mutters something regrettable to him when he asks sarcastically if anything interesting happened today. Yvette Lewis titters with a classmate during the lecture, and Miss Hanson gets right in her face and threatens to kill that son-bitch. No, I'm kidding. Threatens to send her to detention if she doesn't keep her mouth shut. Yvette is quiet and teary-eyed until the bell rings, and Miss Tania finds her bawling about it at recess. Miss Hanson has 2 more incidents like this before second recess, and when the children come back, and they're too scared to do much of anything without her permission. Timmy Morris doesn't come back at all and goes straight to the principal's office instead. After granting Zach's request for a bathroom break, just like clockwork, Miss Hanson gives everyone a reading assignment, if only to get a little peace and quiet. She finally begins to relax, but her headache has returned into full force. She leaves the children to go to the nurse's office for the aspirin. The nurse is up the hall and around the corner just to pass the bathroom. She makes it as far as the drinking fountain, 2 classrooms up the hall. What? She hisses. What the hell do you think you're doing? Zach Tobin is frozen like a tasteless statue. He stands in tiptoes at the drinking fountain with his hands at his crotch in the midst of unzipping his pants. His eyes bulge until they strain out raging rivers of tears. He begins to cry. It's the last straw. Miss Hanson grabs him by the wrist and drags him around the corridor like a squealing suitcase. She throws open the boys' room door and just as effortlessly bows Zach inside. Don't come out until you grow up, she shrieks and slams the door. She holds it closed for a minute and listens to his panicked whines and little fist banging it against the other side. It only infuriates her more. Then he cries and sniffles for another minute, and finally he goes quiet. Miss Hanson realizes at the point that clusters of children are standing at the classroom doors all along the length of the hallway, watching her with horrified and confused look on their faces. Some of them are accompanied by their equally shocked and bewildered teachers. Miss Hanson feels herself shrink to about 3 inches high. She clears her throat and diverts her eyes elsewhere, continuing down the hall to the nurse's office. Miss Hanson has felt her class unattended for a little over 10 minutes, and the hallway is now thankfully deserted. On her way back from the nurse's office, she stops outside the boys' room door and wonders if Zach Tobin is still counting them there. Remember how he refused to look at her in the eye yesterday, delivers a sharp kick to her stomach, and convinces her to check on him. She opens the door and pokes her head inside. Zach, she says gently, sweetie, are you still here? Randomly shuffling like sandally boots on concrete, then silence. Miss Hanson leans further inside and starts starts to call again when she hears a sob. She steps slowly inside until she has a full view of the bathroom. The black walls grabs her immediate attention. It has somehow partially collapsed through from a gaping black hole 2 feet wide high. Broken wall ties and flakes of plaster are scattered on the floor at the mouth. Another sob, more shuffling. Miss Hanson stands still at the door, much like Zach did the previous week. She swallows a lump in her throat and steps toward the cubicles, pushing the doors inward and finding both deserted. Something moves inside the wall, just inside the hole. Miss Hanson gets goosebumps again as the stench of sewage and decay creeps into her nostrils. She's certainly no little boy who died in a scary place like that. Miss Hanson steps over to the mouth of the little cave and kneels down to peer inside. Just how far does it go? Her eyes can't adjust, but it seems to be a long, wide space, crudely dug out of the plaster and concrete between 2 classrooms. The walls of the cave and the loose tiles scattered on the floor bear hideous chisel-like scratch marks. More movement directly ahead, and another sob in Dak Robin's voice. Miss Hanson peers into the darkness, and can almost see a form thrashing and struggling inside. "Zach, where are you?" Miss Hanson says. She's about to crawl into her, and after him, and when she hears the laugh, feminine, gleeful, and very close. 2 huge yellow eyes and a gnarled, toothy grin dimly reflected the bathroom light, staring at her from the shadows like a nightmarish Cheshire cat. Miss Hanson is grabbing for the bathroom door handle moments later. There are 3 children and 7 faculty members in the office, including Principal Sinclair and Mr. Snyder, when Miss Hanson bursts through the door. She babbles and screams and bawls, violently flailing her arms. Her eyes are intense, red, and flowing wet and unblinking. She tries to explain what happened to Zach Tobin in the boys' room. She tries, but only gibberish comes out. Mr. Snyder and the 2 others pin her onto the bench by front desk until she calms down. Miss Hanson's eye roll around her sockets, and then she faints. Sinclair tells the secretary to call an ambulance. One of the children is crying. Miss Hanson becomes a permanent resident at the North Hill Psychiatric Center. No one ever knows what happened to Zach Tobin. Whenever someone asks Miss Hanson, she shakes her head violently, covers her eyes, and hyperventilates until she faints. She never speaks again and outright refuses to go to any bathroom. Principal Sinclair finds the hole in the boys' bathroom and has a carpenter hastily seal it up. Life goes on at Winterfield Elementary as if nothing happened. No, we have to talk about it.
Oh, yeah.
So, how do you think the creepypasta was?
I think it's pretty good.
I thought it was going to be like a troll pasta, like I thought it was going to be really bad and everything. Like about a guy who was like constipated, but it was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Like,
shocked.
Yeah, I mean,
that was actually kind of disturbing.
Yeah.
Because it kind of provides the truth, because as a kid, you see more wrong with you can like sense stuff that grown-ups can't.
Yeah, but
like, did you know that like cats and dogs can sense like cats, dogs, and kids can sense like ghosts and shit, but but adults really can't.
Mm.
That's what I feel about that story.
Yeah. Although I wish the kid would just die.
He probably did die.
Yeah, no. But
why do you want the kid to die?
Well, I have to say though, I think the names in this story in this school is so unrealistic. Like, what school has 2 recesses? That's like unfair to the other schools. And like 4 urinals, that's like just not enough. I think this school needs to just be like shut down and then abandoned. And then when somebody goes, and then there's another creepypasta, a sequel to this, and someone goes into school and is like, I wonder what's going on. And then the monster's running around, and then they're like, oh gosh, there's a monster, we have to get out of here, and the monster kills him. See, that's how you do a creepypasta sequel. It'd be called Why Did I Go to This School?
Oh. Yeah. That sounds pretty good.
Yeah. That was bathroom anxiety.
Yep.
So, thank you for watching. Tell us how you thought the creepypasta was in the comments below.
And tell us if, like, what creepypasta to do next.